Hello, everyone. Today, I will be discussing to you the educational philosophy about pragmatism. Now, as an introduction, the Greek word pragma, which means activity, practice, or action, is the source of the word pragmatism. Pragmatism, which prioritizes action over intellect, is also known as expenditure and holds that practicability or utility depend on truth, reality, goodness, and badness, all of which are relative concepts that are neither present nor absolute. Pragmatism's leading proponents include C.B. John Dewey, William James, Will Durant, Archie Baum, and Schiller are some of the authors. The central concept of pragmatism is experience. Thus, it emphasizes human concepts and values that are the product of the experimental operations. Pragmatism and teacher. Pragmatists believe that it is the teacher's responsibility to foster an environment in the classroom where students are forced to deal with a variety of problems that are relevant to real life and are motivated to find solution. The pragmatism or the pragmatist views that the teacher as a helper, a philosopher, and so on. The main responsibility of a pragmatic teacher is to pose issues to his students and encourage them to come up with a workable solution on their own. The instructor is responsible for fostering the children's innate abilities to grow naturally. His principal responsibility is to provide problems to his students or pupils and then to lead them in the direction of the solutions. Next one is the pragmatism and the students. Pragmatists have criticized imposing restrictions and regulations on students. They believe in social and personal discipline, and they think that if we give children the chance to take part of all forms of group activities, discipline will naturally develop in them. Pragmatists contend that combining recreation and work will produce a disciplined and positive mental attitude. They will develop traits like tolerance, sympathy, respect for one another, and willingness to help others by participating in such activities. Force and dominance cannot keep discipline in check. To allow for their natural and harmonious development, children should be given freedom. Rewards and penalties have little bearing on the learning process, according to pragmatists. They held that there was no already established moral code or set of principles. The idea supports discipline, but it should not be the result of outside pressure. Instead, it should be supported by freedom and joy. It promotes discipline based on the ideas of a child's pursuits and interests. It supports discipline based on social and reciprocal understanding. It supports involving kids in authentic, free activities from daily life. Next one is pragmatism and the curriculum. In the field of curriculum development, the following principles have been prescribed by the pragmatists. First is the principle of utility. This principle states that only those subjects, pursuits, and learning opportunities should be a part of the curriculum because they will help children meet their needs right now while also preparing them for their future needs as adults. For girls, the topics include language classes, physical education, geography classes, history classes, science classes, agriculture classes, and home science classes. Secondly, the principle of interest. According to this principle, only those activities and experiences where the child takes interest are of four varieties, namely, first, interest in conversation. Second, interest in investigation. Third, interest in construction. And fourth, interest in creative expression. Keeping these varieties of interest in view at the primary stage, the curriculum should include writing, counting, art, craft work, natural science, and other practical work of simple nature. Third, principle of experience. The third principle of pragmatic curriculum is the child's activity, vocation, and experience. All these three should be closely integrated. The curriculum should consist of such varieties of learning and learning experiences which promote original thinking and freedom to develop social purposely attitudes. Fourth one, principles of integration. Pragmatic curriculum deals with the integration of subjects and activities. Pragmatists want to construct flexible, dynamic, and integrated curriculum which aids the development of the child and the changing society more and more as he or she needs, demands, and situation requires. Next one is the pragmatism and method of teaching. Teaching learning process is social and bipolar process. Learning takes place as an interaction between the teacher and the taught. Pragmatism gives priority to the thought. Similarly, between the thought and action, it gives priority to action. They prefer practical over theory-based teaching learning process. The pragmatists have completely discarded the conventional method of teaching and laid emphasis on the invention of new methods. The whole emphasis of method of teaching in pragmatism is on child, not the book of the teacher or the subject. The dominant interest of the child is to do and to make. The method should be flexible and dynamic. Pragmatists believe that minds of different children are different. Hence, we cannot have a fixed method of teaching which can be useful to all situations. Learning by doing and the project methods have an important place in the method of teaching proposed by the pragmatists. All learning must come as the product of action. Learning by doing makes a person creative, confident, and cooperative. They also put an emphasis on the discovery and inquiry method. The techniques which follow the principle of learning by doing can be used according to pragmatist view. And lastly, the pragmatism and aims of education. The aims of education as formulated by the pragmatists are the following. First, to create new values. The pragmatists do not believe in the theory of any fixed aim of education. In their opinion, the aim of education is to create new values, and the act of teacher is to help himself develop new values. Second one, to enable pupils to gather experience through activity. For the creation of new values, activity and experience are essential. Education should therefore provide physical, intellectual, moral, and aesthetic activities as the media for the creation of new values. Third one, to help the pupil to adjust with him and the society. The other important aim of education, according to pragmatism, is to help the pupil to make adjustment with himself and the society. Fourth one, to help the pupil to reconstruct his experience. Every individual has to solve different types of complex problems in his life. So another important aim of education, according to pragmatism, is to enable the pupil or the children to form such as an outlook about life as an help to tackle successfully the different problems of his life in future. And lastly, to make all-round development of the pupil. All-round development of the individual is also an important aim of education. The individual develops physically, mentally, socially, and aesthetically. So this is my report, and here's my reference. Thank you very much for listening.